welcome back. Today on Book Talk, we're talking about Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. We're going to discuss the impact of violence and how it shifts the culture and the way people look at it. So, A Thousand Splendid Suns. The conflict and change in A Thousand Splendid Suns helps to focus the work. His lens focuses on the life and conflicts, both political and personal, of two women living in Afghanistan through 1960 all the way up to 1990. The dual narrative reveals the violence and disruption inflicted on the protagonists, Mariam and Laila. Such violence impacts the women greatly and gives rise to a new vision of their country and a woman's place within it. Divided into three key parts, each lead to a greater lesson regarding womanhood, the effects of oppression, and the violence, and how it can act as a catalyst for change. Part 1 introduces the character of Mariam. She's a young girl in the outskirts of Herat, and she sees herself as a harami, an Islamic word that means bastard. Her mother, Nana, uses the word to degrade Mariam, and Mariam uses the word to help identify herself amongst others. Mariam suffers much hardship and essentially begins to internalize an attitude that deems her worthless and deserving of inhumane indignities. With Nana, who relegates her daughter to much mental abuse. Nana is bitter, angry, and after being exiled from the country after giving birth to Mariam, she unleashes all of her sourness onto her daughter. Learn this now, and learn this well, my daughter. Like a compass needle that points north, a man's accusing finger always finds a woman. Nana says this to her 8-year-old daughter. It's a really haunting statement, even at the time, but it begins to hold even more weight as you continue reading the work. Naturally, Mariam is traumatized early in her life, which has an effect on her overall self-esteem. Teamed with the rejection of her biological father and her mother's suicide, which she blames herself for, Mariam continues to accept and expect abusive treatment throughout her adult life. So, when she's married off to a cruel and oppressive shoemaker at 16, she accepts it with little to no pushback. Subjected to a combination of mental, emotional, and physical abuse, including being hit, kicked, and at one point forced to chew pebbles until her own teeth falls out. Such abuse, Mariam just accepts willingly, living the majority of her life feeling undeserving of human kindness. Mariam's catalyst for change comes much later in the work, after finding a source of love. She gathers all the strength she has left to protect those she cares about and effectively becomes the hero of Housseni's novel. The subject of Mariam's love is Laila. She's introduced in part 2 of the novel. Laila is willful, opinionated, and highly intelligent. She's pretty much the polar opposite of Mariam. She's a symbol of hope for Afghanistan. The work says, Laila, you'll make us two dummies proud. You're going to be somebody. I know one day I'll pick up a newspaper and find your picture on the front page. This quote exemplifies how many of her friends and neighbors view Laila, the youngest child of a former professor and a socialite wife. However, as the war closed in, the effects of violence began to have a negative take on Laila's lifestyle and her perspective. Pulled from formal education, Laila finds what it means to be a woman in Afghanistan, which is basically to be limited and oppressed. As the war closes in, her father loses his job, her brothers lose their life, and she loses the companionship of her one and only friend. Ultimately, her parents die after her house is bombed in a military raid, and she's scarcely saved by Rasheed, who's no savior at all. He's Mariam's husband, and the effects of violence and disruption change Laila. Once opposed to violence, now she is forced to fight for her own life. She becomes angry and even finds the willingness to kill in order to save herself. Yet, her attitude, unlike some of the others in the work, is bred out of necessity, as she must choose her life and the life of her children over all else. As the two narratives converge, we witness the two women grow from powerless to all-powerful. Laila is beaten greatly and unforgivingly at the hands of Rasheed, who places Laila's daughter in an orphanage, hits her, chokes her, and seeks to take her life. Literally. The violence these women endure is overwhelming and causes one to choose. Either you kill or you be killed. Laila and Mariam choose the former. Murdering her violent, abusive husband, Mariam saves Laila's life, an act of ultimate sacrifice that causes Mariam to be sentenced to death. In an effort to repay Mariam, Laila returns to Kabul and starts a school that teaches both girls and boys, something that is never allowed under the Taliban rule. In doing so, she fulfills her destiny, prophesied by her late father. When this war is over, Afghanistan is going to need you as much as its men. Maybe even more, because the society has no chance of success if its women are not educated. Laila, no chance. Laila's choice to begin a school reflects the upcoming progress towards justice in Afghanistan. She empowers herself as a woman and then empowers her country as a whole, because education is the ultimate lens to freedom. The violence and disruption these characters are subjected to forces Laila and Mariam to rise against the natural order and claim their own liberty. Mariam kills Rasheed, and this action allows Laila an opportunity to create progressive change in her home country. Due to the violence and disruption engendered by the conflict, causes the character to demand justice by any means, which ultimately helps readers understand the need for humans to act responsibly and considerably with power, and that love and compassion are the means for one to progress in life. If you love this work and you want to talk about it some more, please leave me a comment. I'd happily discuss it with you. And I guess I'll see you next Friday for a new work. Catch you next time.